Good morning, ladies. Good morning. Today we are very privileged to have U.S. Senator Joe Manchin here with us. Senator was sworn into the United States Senate on November 15, 2010, to fill the seat left vacant by the late Senator Robert C. Byrd. For Senator Manchin, serving as West Virginia Senator is truly an honor and a privilege. From his days as a state legislator to his 6 years as governor, to his current role, Senator Manchin has always been committed to his philosophy of retail government. In other words, connecting with all of his constituents and making service to them his top priority. As a senator, Joe Manchin is committed to bringing the same spirit of bipartisanship to Washington. As he has done throughout his entire life, he remains committed to working with Republicans and Democrats to find common sense solutions to the problems our country faces, and is working hard to usher in a new bipartisan spirit in the Senate and Congress. Senator Manchin has served in several leadership capacities on various associations, including Chairman of the National Governors Association, Chairman of the Southern States Energy Board, President of the Council of State Governments, Chairman of the Democratic Governors Association, and Chairman of Southern Governors Association. Senator Manchin served as Secretary of State from 2000 to 2004, and his office was known for excellent customer service. He began his tenure as West Virginia's 34th governor in January 2005, where he served as governor for 6 years. Please give a warm welcome for your United States Senator, Mr. Joe Manchin.
Good morning. How are you? Have you had a good time? Yes. How many want to stay? Look at this. Look at this, huh? I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to be here. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to. I know my colleague, Senator Capito, was here on Monday, and I was down in Atlanta with President Bill Clinton on his Clinton Global Initiative. We were working on opiates. And I understand you've had people from my office speaking to you. You had Mara Boggs, and they honored military women. How'd that one go? Her and her sister. They're pretty special people, and it shows you that you can do anything you want to do, and you can be anything you want to be. To the team, Michelle Serball, Betty, and Irene, and Dr. Thomas, I want to thank you all so much for continuing this tradition of bringing the most outstanding young women in West Virginia together to lead our state and our nation, and that's exactly what you're going to do. To Wheeling Jesuit University, who has been hosting the girls for the last 19 year, to Father Fleming, I know and Father George was here, and for all of those who made this possible, and Wheeling Jesuit for opening up their campus is pretty special. For our American Legion, Commander Kenny Smith, to the American Legion Auxilary President, Susan Wade. Somebody had to do this. Somebody had to put this together. And when you think about the American Legion, what they've done in stepping to the plate for so many years for both the girls and boys state, it really means that we do care, and we want to bring the best of the best together. To all the young ladies, to all of you who are here, I've said this is the power. This is where the power is. It really is. You've got it in the palm of your hands. You really do. You just got to do it and take it and run with it. That's all. I want to thank each one of you who ran for office. I know some think, well, I ran, I didn't win. Well, let me tell you, you were a winner. If you were involved in any way, shape, or form, you won. You learned about the position you were running for differently than you ever would have. You learned about how the process would work. And you learned basically, at the end of the day, sometimes you have a little bit more votes than the other. But if not, you never quit trying. I've lost an election. I've been involved in some tough ones. And basically, you grow from that. Everybody grows from it, but everybody wins that participates. Someone once said, the person on the top of the mountain didn't just fall there. The person on the top of the mountain didn't fall there. They had to climb. They had to get there. And guess what? They had a lot of trials and tribulations. They probably stumbled. They probably fell down a good bit. But they made it to the top. Not everybody does. Not everybody makes it. I've thought about all the important people in my life, and every time I think about everybody that made a difference in my life, that shaped who I am, I say that all of us, each one of you are a product of your environment. You are who you are, from where you came from and where you are living, who's raising you, who's nurturing you. And if you can look and think in your life, you have unconditional love. If you have somebody that loves you no matter what you do, right or wrong, unconditional love is unconditional. Cicero said, to err is human. We expect you to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. That's how you grow. The person I'm concerned, and the ones that scares me the most, afraid to do anything. I'm afraid to make a mistake. I want you to go out. I want you to experience life. But basically, never try to do something with malice in your heart to where you're hoping you can harm somebody or make them feel bad or bring shame upon them. If you're making mistakes by trying to improve people's lives and trying to make things better, making a better home, better community, then you've done the right thing. Doesn't always work out, you try again. And when I think about that, I was raised in little Farmington, West Virginia. Here I stand before you as United States Senator. Farmington, yeah. There's not many of us there, but you know what? It was mighty. We were mighty. And but I was raised in that little town, a little coal mining town, like most of the little towns in West Virginia. I'm a product of my environment. And I'm thinking, what shaped me? I was a privileged child. Some people think, oh, you're a privileged child. You were raised in a big fancy home. Well, that wasn't the case. We had a 3-room garage apartment. Well, I was raised in a big fancy neighborhood. Well, I was raised between the tracks and the creek, Buffalo Creek and the tracks. Well, why did I think I was privileged? I had unconditional love. There wasn't a day in my life that I knew somebody didn't love me. I could do no wrong in their eyes. Even though I would maybe disappoint them, I would let them down, but they were always there to pick me up. That's pretty special. If you've got that, hold on to it. Go home. When you go home and you love that person and you kiss them and say, thank you for what you've done for me. So many times we take it for granted. Oh, that's my mom, it's my grandma, it's my aunt, it's my uncle, my grandpa. They're supposed to do that. It doesn't always happen that way. There's 5 promises, each one. If you remember nothing else than I say, I hope there's one thing that you remember. 5 promises every one of us should keep to every child. You're not a child anymore. You're a young woman. You're an adult. You're moving on. But there's 5 promises. Every child has to have unconditional love in their life. It's not always the biological parents. It's not always who you were born into, what family you come from. You need unconditional love. Somebody's got to love you. You've got to know that someone's going to be there for you. Every child has to have a safe place. It might not always be the home. But you've got to have some place in your life where you can go and you know harm will not enter. You are safe. Every child has to have a healthy start. You've got to have nutrition. You're responsible, too, to make sure that you exercise, that you eat right, that you do the proper decisions you make for your own body. Your body's only as good as what you put into it. So every child should have a healthy start. Every child should be taught a livable skill. Every one of you all should be taught a livable skill. That's our responsibility. That'll be your responsibility. The 5th thing I can't teach you. I can't teach you this one. Hopefully I can show you by my actions. But the 5th one is every child should grow to learn to be a loving and caring adult and give something back. And the cycle repeats itself. And the cycle continues to repeat itself. Unconditional love, safe place, nutrition, learning, and give something back. Be that person that you've completed the cycle. And you might say, well, it didn't work out for me like that. My life hasn't gone that way. Your life's just beginning. You are just beginning. Think about this. Think about the statistics. I want you to think about this. In the world today, this wonderful, beautiful globe of ours, 7.3 billion people. 7.3 billion people. Guess how many women? About half. So your gender is over 3.5 billion. There's 3.5 billion females on planet Earth. You drew the lottery number. You hit the jackpot. You hit the absolute lotto number of the world. the lotto number of the world. You were born in the United States of America. You were born in the greatest country, the superpower of the world, where there is no exceptions whatsoever. There's no barriers. There's not one of you should be sitting in this audience right now saying, man, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can be that. I don't know if I can get there. Not one of you. If one of you have that thought in your mind that you don't think you can do anything, that you can be anything, that you can go anywhere, then stop that thought right now and start thinking differently. You stop that thought. Let me tell you about a little girl. There's the top 100 list. Forbes, they call it Forbes 100 most influential women in the world. The 95th person on that list is from Fairmont, West Virginia. Grew up in Farmington. On the Fortune 500 list, the 50 most powerful women in the United States of America, she's number 22. Number 22. That girl's my daughter. My daughter, Heather Manchin Bresh. Now, here's a little girl, and she runs a Fortune 500 company called Mylan Pharmaceutical. It's globally, worldwide. She has 35,000 employees, travels around the world every week in different parts. Never forgot where she came from. Her first challenge was to sell. My father bought a truckload of Coca-Cola. We had a little grocery store in Farmington, and her first challenge was to see if she could outsell her cousins that were male, and she could outsell them all. She not only outsold them, she showed them how to sell. And this is a little 10, 11-year-old girl, took a challenge and never looked back since. So it doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter at all. You might think, well, I'm not really prepared for that. You're going to be able to blend in the world wherever you go, anywhere you want to be. And it's just unbelievable the opportunities you have. And for the first time, you're living in such a monumental time and such a historic time that basically, for the first time, the superpower of the world, the United States of America, has a woman, a female, at the top of a political party that has the opportunity to maybe be President of the United States, Hillary Clinton. No one ever thought that glass ceiling would ever be broken. Nobody ever thought. So I don't care what your politics are, to have a female rise to that level is unbelievable. The first female to be in a cabinet was Madeleine Albright, 1996. Unbelievable. And the contributions they're making is truly unbelievable. 196 countries in the world, 22 are led by women. 196 countries, 22 are led by women. Let me give you a story basically from where the most seared thing in my mind today is the travels that I've had. I've been able to travel around the world on your behalf. The state of West Virginia has given me that opportunity. I've been the Secretary of State of the state of West Virginia. I've been governor of the state of West Virginia. Now I'm a United States Senator. But I've been able to travel and see parts of the world because West Virginia has made a difference in parts of the world. As I traveled in 2006 as your governor to see the troops that we had, how many of you all have a member of your family that is serving today or who has served as a veteran in the military forces in some way, shape, or form? Most every West Virginian can raise their hand. Most every West Virginian has had a family or has a family member. And I tell them, we take a back seat to nobody. We're the most patriotic state in the nation. We have fought in more wars and conflicts, shed more blood for the cause of freedom than any state. We've mined the coal that's built the guns and ships that's made this country what it is, the superpower of the world. We are the hope of the world. So we don't take a back seat, and I don't let anybody say anything about West Virginia, or make a joke or a derogatory remark. You ought to stop him right there and say, oh, well, let me tell you the rest of the story, what you don't know about my state. And speak up, be proud, because nobody has given as much as we've given. No one has made as many sacrifices as we have made in West Virginia. So when I think about what challenges lie ahead, I think about what opportunities you have. I've never seen a world so connected. I have never seen a world connected, moving at such warp speed that I can't even predict what the future, nobody can. But I can tell you, you're going to be able to compete around the world differently than anyone's ever done in their lifetime. You're able to do more on your phone than we could do back in the 60s during the space shuttle. Your phone has more power. So things are changing. You got to figure, I want to be part of this. Do I want to understand it? Do I want to make sure that I can participate? That's the decisions you all have to make, because there's no barriers. But when I was overseas, I was in Afghanistan, Kabul, Afghanistan. And when I said you hit the lottery because as a female in America, there is no boundaries. There is no glass ceiling. There is nothing that prevents you from being whatever you want to be. Now, let's look and see what's happening around the world. Kabul, Afghanistan, I'm there, and it's so challenging and so dangerous. So everywhere we go, we've got CIA, we're in armored cars, we're this, we're that, and they're moving us from here to there to see our troops and visit. So they were driving through the city of Kabul, which is in rumble, just rubble, been blown up and this and that. And I see all these little girls. I mean, I see girls that maybe 6, 7 years old. I see girls 12, 15 years old. They all have a white scarf on their head, and they're walking through a war-torn city over the rubble, and I'm thinking, what's going on? Why? These little girls, they got us in armored vehicles because they're afraid of our safety, and these little girls are walking. I said, what's going on? They're able to go to school for the first time. They're able to learn how to read and write for the first time. And they were all in the same. These are girls at 12, 15, never had a chance. These are little girls going to not miss a chance. They're willing to walk through a war zone to get educated. So when I tell you you've hit the lottery, you truly have. You're the hope of the world. And when people look at that, now people want to do us danger, harm, terrorist attacks. You'll never know another day in your life that you won't be challenged. One of them is you're not. You don't know where it's coming from, but you better be vigilant. They cannot change our way of life. They cannot change who you are. They cannot make you afraid to be an American. And let me tell you, being American doesn't mean we're all the same. Look around. We're all different. This country is the country we are, the hope of the world, because we are the fabric of the world. We are the world. We are all parts of the world. And now you have people talking and professing and basically shut things down. I've been giving speeches for a long time, and I said that I hope the day never comes when you've got to make a decision and say, enough's enough, stop it all, don't let anybody in. When you do that, we will fail to be the country we are. If you think that we are so perfect, we need nobody else, that we are so right, that we are the best, then we will fail. We will crumble from within. And our doors should we're going to have to be more cautious than ever. I sit on armed services. I get in a lot of secured meetings. There's people coming trying to do us harm every day. They're hacking us by the thousands of times a day. Hacking in our security, in our industrial security, everything. And with that, we've got to be vigilant. There's people coming here that want to do us harm. But there's more people coming here that want to be able to support this great country, that want to be a part of this great country, that want to be basically able to have freedom and prosperity. If there's no place in the world that you can go and find that, then what is the world about? There'll be turmoil forever. And you have a responsibility to try to bring peace to the world. But I cannot believe how we're discriminating. A long way to go. The female gender basically is not equally paid for the equal work they do. That has got to stop. They have got to be paid exactly for the work. It's value that basically you create. It's not who you are, it's what you do. So that's got to be broken down. There's no room for discrimination in America. There's no room at all. Whatever your gender may be, whatever your sexual preference may be, whatever your race may be. We are all Americans. We are all God-loving, God-fearing people. And we should start showing that compassion. This cyberbullying that goes on, it's unbelievable. You all have got to fight back on that. There's got to be a way to basically stop this type of harassment 24/7. You can't going to have to. We never had to worry about that. We never even had a cell phone. We had old rotary dials when I was growing up. We had party lines. If you want to know what the gossip was, get on and breathe very, very quietly so you could hear. Don't let them know you're on the line. That was it. It's changed so much today. I just think that we're so blessed. And I keep thinking of Katie, the opportunity she's going to have. I know she knows she's been blessed, but each one of you have been blessed. How many girls in your school didn't get here? How many juniors didn't make it? Think about that. What are you going to do when you go home? You're going to talk to the sophomores, you're going to talk to the freshmen and say, hey, you're not going to believe the experience I had. You're not going to believe the opportunity if you'll just step forward. Compete for it. Try to be the best of the best. You've heard the term best in class? Best in class takes about 10,000 hours. Best ball player, the best opera singer, the best of anything, the brightest of the world. It takes about 10,000 hours to produce that skill to make you best. Right now, I can ask you, have you been pushed hard enough in your education to this day? Do you think you've been pushed? Do you think you could give more? Do you think you can, there's more to give, right? Do you think that you've committed yourself as much? Now, you have another year left, right, in school. One more year. I would ask all of you, challenge yourself. Set your goals high. I can do this. I can do much better. Push myself. Even if he or she is not responsible for the outcome, they can put so much into it. I got to get what I want out of it. You can only get what you want out of this if you put more into it. You can only be the person that you would like to be if you're willing to make the changes. And if you're holding yourself responsible and accountable. The biggest problem we have today, everyone's looking to blame somebody. It's somebody else's fault. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. Well, somebody made me do it. Somebody else said that, not me. We've all done that. But you know when your character starts to be built is when you're willing to look at yourself and say, it's my fault. I made a mistake. I can do better. I'll correct that. I go to schools, and I would say all of you right now, if for any reason you have any animosity against any one of you, for whatever reason, try to cure that before you leave today. Try to go over and say, I'm sorry, let's be friends. Just make that effort. I work every day in an atmosphere where people are trying to destroy each other, whether you're Democrat or Republican. I said, what about being an American first? Let's be an American. Maybe that'll bring us together. We can have our differences politically. We can have those differences. We can have those conversations. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, what's our purpose? At the end of the day, what's your purpose in life? And when you go home at night, think about this. When do you feel the best? When you go home at night, when do you feel the best? When you had a good day, right? When things went well? Your friends didn't make any more enemies. Maybe you made a few friends out of enemies. That's a pretty good day. Pretty balanced. You helped a few people. Someone helped you. It was kind of a give and take day. It's a balanced day. When it's out of balance, when you have a bad day, think about it. Something went wrong, right? Said something you shouldn't have said. Somebody said something about you that you didn't like. Someone hurt you. That's a bad day. You go home at night, it's not very balanced. You don't feel very good about it. And you know what you're figuring out in your mind? How do I correct that? How do I make tomorrow better? How do you do it? You learn from what you did. What don't you like? Your moral compass is going to tell you the right direction. I'm not going to have to tell you. Your mom and dad don't have to tell you now. You're young women. You're young adults. You're leaders. People are looking to you all for leadership. Well, what's your compass telling you? Are you going the right direction? You got to ask yourself that. And then you got to be honest with yourself. I think I am. I feel better about this today. No, I'm not. I know I'm not doing right. I know I got to change this. I've got to straighten this course out. Only you can do that. I can't do it. Nobody here. None of your sponsors can do it for you. They can give you all the tools, but you got to do it. So I start looking at, I've had some questions they wanted to ask me, and I looked at some of these questions, but they're all good. They're all good questions, if I can find them. Where are they, Mary Jo? Front or back? You all know Mary Jo? She takes care of me. Where?
I moved them back here. This is open for questions right there. Thank you, honey.
Let me tell you, if it wasn't for the women, I wouldn't be here. They run my office.
Yes.
Let me tell you about that. I have 42 42 people in the office, okay? 42. 24 are female. My top people are female. My state director's female. My people run my communications. I depend on them. Absolutely depend on them. And they give me the best judgment and the best advice I can possibly have. Homeless veterans. Who asked the question about homeless veterans? Is that part of your whole dialogue here? Let me just tell you about that. There shouldn't be, in the greatest country on earth, there shouldn't be one veteran that's homeless. None. We've done a tremendous job of curing that. We really have. We're making a great effort. And let me just tell you another thing, and I haven't seen it, but I want to tell you. The greatest challenge you have right now, and the greatest challenge we have as West Virginians, only half of our adult population that's of working age is working. It's the lowest population. We're the worst in the nation. We've got the best workers that are working. There's only 3 reasons why you don't work as an adult. You either have no skill sets, you either have an incarceration or a record against you, a criminal record, or you're addicted, or a combination of those 3 that'll keep you out of the workforce, and you can't earn. Your earning power is not there. We have an addiction problem in the country. We have an addiction problem in the state of West Virginia. Opiates, legal prescription drugs, pills. People saying, oh, I found this in my mom's or dad's medicine cabinet. Think about this. In the United States of America, we are less than 5% of the world population. 5%, 330 million people out of 7.3 billion. But we consume 80% of all opiates produced in the world. How in the world can this be the most addicted country on earth? Why are we so dependent on something? Why do we need this type of pain relief? How much pain do we have that we have to have these types of support through pills, thinking that's going to make our life better? Now, with that being said, we're losing people's lives. We've lost more West Virginians to opiate, which is legal pain prescriptions, Vicodin, Loratab, Oxycontin. We've lost more people to that. And there's not one of you sitting here right now that doesn't know somebody in your family, extended family, or someone is a close friend to the family that hasn't been addicted. It's of epidemic proportion. We've lost 200,000 Americans since 1999. I have a bill out right now because we can't find treatment. If you've ever known anybody in it, they want to be clean, can't find treatment. We have no treatment centers. I'm as guilty as any politician in the past because for the last 20 years I thought it was basically a crime. You were committing a crime. We're going to put you in jail. I have a cousin who's a judge. I talked to Michael the other day and he said, let me tell you something. He said, Joe, he says, you know, every time I want to put a person in jail, no one's ever told me you don't have a bed to put them in. We've always found a jail cell for somebody, but when I wanted to send someone to treatment because they needed help, I couldn't find it. Didn't have no place to put them. But I could always find a jail cell, couldn't find a treatment bed. So we have a horrific problem because we've looked at it as a crime and not as an illness. So what I'm doing is looking at it as an illness now. And I've said this, if you can't change your mind, you can't change anything. If you can't change your mind, whatever you think it's just rooted in you and you're just going to fight to your death about this position. Always think about this. If you can't change your mind, you can't change anything. Always be willing to look at the facts. The facts are this. We haven't rehabilitated anybody. I didn't put anybody back into productive society. We put them in jail. They went in, they came out, they were more addicted than when they went in, and they were less productive. Now they had a jail record on them, they couldn't get a job. I've taken them out of the workforce completely. So we had to change. I have a bill called Lifeboat. You know what it does? 1 penny, the manufacturers will pay 1 penny for every milligram of opiates they produce that will go to a treatment plant. That 1 penny in the United States of America will produce $1.5 to $2 billion with a B dollars a year to fund treatment centers around the country. $1 billion. That's a penny. People say, well, that's a tax. I don't know what. You want to call it a tax? You want to call it a fee? I call it a treatment plan. Well, you pay a tax for cigarettes. We know the smoking's bad for you. You pay a tax for alcohol. We know it's bad for you. I have nothing killing as many people as I have in opiates, and we do nothing. We allow that to be legal and with no restraints. Well, we're going to stop it. And your generation's got to fight that one. Homeless veterans, a lot of our veterans are addicted because we're giving them anything they want when they're in theater. They come back. We're trying to change that whole philosophy. So there's not going to be any more homeless veterans. And if all you have to do is every town you're from, find out if there's any homeless vets in your town, in your county. Find out. And then get back to my office. Call me and let us start working on it, because we're going to find out where they are and we're going to make sure they're not homeless. Another one's about the coal industry. Why do we still have the coal industry? Why do I defend the coal industry? I'm a realist. First of all, if you believe that humans, 7 billion of us, have not had an impact on Mother Earth and the climate of Mother Earth, then you're a denier. I'm not a denier. I think 7 billion people of us have had an impact, and we have a responsibility. Now, if you believe that we're going to run this country, or we're going to run the world and the energy the world needs or the country needs without any fossil, you're a worse denier, because it's going to happen. There's more coal being burnt in the world than ever before. There's 8 billion tons of coal being burnt. Only less than 1 billion being burnt in America, and it's dropping fast. But the bottom line is, if you want to clean up the climate of the world, and we call it a global climate, don't you think we should be concerned about the entire globe? If you believe that wind currents and ocean currents start and stop in North America, then you believe the Earth's still flat. It's not. So, if you want to help the rest of the world, use the greatest superpower of the world, the United States of America, use the trading, and that's what you have to understand. Where's our strength come from? Not just from our military, it comes from our economy. And if you want to use your economy and other people want to sell to us or be part of this trading, then they should basically step up the game. If they're going to use coal, use all the new technology that uses it cleaner, until we find, in your lifetime, there's going to be commercial fusion, commercial hydrogen. There's going to be some new super clean power. You don't have it yet. The grid system's not connected. So you've got to use what you have to energize this country and make it competitive, but do it as clean as possible. That's the responsibility. You can't just be a denier and say, I'm not going to use it anymore. If we quit using coal and natural gas, which are fossil fuels, guess what you'd have? You'd have to figure out at 24 hours a day, I get about 6 hours of energy. What 6 hours do I want my refrigerator to work? What 6 hours do I want my lights to work? What 6 hours do I want my heat and air conditioning to work? What 6 hours do I want to have any energy at all? That's what you got to figure out. Because 75 to 80% of your energy comes from fossil. Can we deny? That's a $10 fine. Can we deny that? Can we change that? Absolutely, but it'll take time. That's the only difference I am. I'm a realist. I know what we're doing. I know one thing, you're dependable. You let the lights go out, who are you going to blame? If we let the system collapse, who are you going to blame? If the whole East Coast goes blank because West Virginia's supplying the power, who are they going to blame? One thing I would tell any politician who says, oh, we got to get rid of it now. Fine. Tell the country, be honest with the country, if you stop using fossil today, any coal today, what would the world look like? 144 million people in the United States of America, their lives would be in jeopardy, their worlds would change, and the economy would collapse. Today. 20 years from now, not so. 20, 30 years will change. So do you transition in a normal way, or you basically just want to cut all ties? That's where I come differently. So I'm not from the standpoint just a raw, and let it go. I'm basically trying to find a pathway forward, and we can show the rest of the world how to do it. U.S. economy, here's what you got to know. Your U.S. economy, $19 trillion. Who's the closest one to us from there? China. Here's where China is. $10 trillion a year. That's what their economy is worth. Guess where it goes from there? Where do you think's next? Japan, 4.5. Where do you think it falls from there? It goes down. Where do you think England? Europe. They're 2, 2.5, 3. Nobody. The whole Eurozone doesn't come up and meet what the United States of America does. Take all the European countries. We are the superpower. The monetary system of the world is around the dollar because of the superpower that we are and the economy that we have. We've got to continue to make that stronger, and we will. The epidemic of drugs is just unbelievable. let me speak about the Orlando, the shootings, the killings, the massacres that's going on. You and I, how many of you have someone in your family that owns a gun? It's our culture. It's who we are. It's West Virginia. When the Newtown shootings happened and these 20 little babies got massacred, and they came to me, and I happened to be on a national television show, and I would just speak. I mean, I never had anything move me as much as that. What you have to understand, those 20 little babies, these are 5-year-olds, 6 years old. They couldn't even have an open casket. They were massacred. They couldn't even have an open casket. This is what we were dealing with. To have this type of carnage on such an innocent life, it's not in this country. And now to have these mass murders and mass shootings, and they hide behind terrorism, and they're cowards, really, if you want to know the truth. They're all cowards. And we're dealing with that. So how do you do it? I look at it from the hatred. You know, I hate you. We've all said the word, probably. If you haven't, God bless you. Don't ever do it. But we've all said that hateful word, I hate you. Why? I don't know. You're not like me? You didn't say what I wanted to hear? I don't know why I hate you. But if I say it enough, maybe I believe it. If I believe it enough, maybe I'll take actions against it. If I take actions against it, I'm going to do a lot of harm. This is something we can't tolerate. We just truly can't. These types of mass shootings that's going on. Now, this country is doing everything humanly possible. We're going to do even more. But with that, do you lose some of your rights and privileges as an American citizen? If I said, okay, if you're on a no-fly list, if we have you too dangerous, and we have identified you through so many different ways that we do that you're so dangerous that you shouldn't be on an airplane, don't you think you shouldn't be able to buy a gun in America? You all believe that? If we suspect that you're on a terrorist watch list and we have suspicion to believe that you should be monitored, don't you believe you should be on a no-buy list? You shouldn't be able to buy a gun in America. We continue. Don't you believe that if you're not supposed to buy a gun in America, you've been a criminal, you've been mentally adjudicated, you're on a terrorist watch list, you're on a no-fly watch list? Don't you believe that you shouldn't be able to go to a gun show and go to a table and buy anything you want without any background check at all? Or go on the internet and buy anything you want without a background check because we don't know who in the heck you are? We've just banned you from flying. We've got you on a terrorist watch list. You've been a criminal. You're not mentally stable, but yet you can still go on the internet and buy anything you want to or go to a gun show. Don't you think we ought to stop that? Everything I've spoke to you about comes down to common sense, pure common sense. And common sense has to prevail. My grandmother, I look at you and you're the best and the brightest. You're the best of class. You're the best of the junior class. You're the best of West Virginia. Our hopes are tied to you. We're swinging with you. You're going to take us down this road, and we're all betting on you. We're betting on you to exceed further than you ever thought. I always say this, I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. I believe that you're going to be greater than you ever thought you could be. I believe that you're going to do things that you didn't even think you could do. Weren't even thinking was possible you're going to do. I believe that because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen with people just like you and me, from little towns in Farmington, little towns all over West Virginia, little schools. Think we don't have a good education. My education was as good as I wanted it to be. Your education will be as good as you want it to be. But I see all this going on and all the heartache and all the turmoil that's going on. And I still say this, that my grandmother, I'll never forget, I was the first to go to college. I came home and I was learning some things, and I was so proud of what I learned. I just couldn't, I was boasting with pride, and I wanted to tell her my grandma and my grandfather were saying, and they never had more than 4th grade education, a formal education. They worked their entire life to the fingers to the bone to provide for us. And I was so proud, and they could tell, and they were proud of me, that I was getting an education. I wanted to explain to them. And I'll never forget this. My grandmother affectionately was known as Mama Kay to everybody. And so I go home and I says, hey, Mama Kay, I did this. I say, hey, Pop, I learned this in accounting class and economics class, and I was really bragging on what I learned. My grandmother stopped me. She said, Joe, remember one thing, honey. I said, what is it, Mama Kay? She says, People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Think about that one. You ever know sometimes you've been talking to a person, they're talking right through you because they're not talking to you? They're wanting you to know how good they are and what all they've accomplished and this and that, and they want to brag on themselves. They want you to be all inspired because of who they are, but they really don't care. I've had it happen to me. I still have it happen to me. I know you've had it happen. Be conscious of that. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's pretty profound. I think each one of you care. You wouldn't be here if you didn't care. I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. I believe I'm looking at the greatest generation that the state of West Virginia has ever produced. I believe you're going to do things that's not only going to make you proud, it's going to make me proud. And I've said this before. How many want to be famous? Everybody wants to be. How many want to be rich? Everybody wants to be rich. How many want to be happy? I can't guarantee you the fortunes. I can't guarantee you'll be rich. I surely can't guarantee you that you'll be famous. We don't know what life's going to turn there. I can guarantee each one of you you'll be happy. I can guarantee that for you. You're going to say, how can you guarantee that? If you like yourself. If you like yourself, you're going to be one happy person. You're going to be one beautiful, happy person everybody wants to be around. Let me just say, it's such an honor to come here. I've been coming for a long time to Girls State. I get so energized. You know something? You all have so much more enthusiasm than the boys. I get them fired up, but I can't get them fired up like the girls. I want you all to stand up right now. I want you to think about this. You are the best. You are the best in class. You are the best West Virginia has to offer. You're going to take us to heights we've never dreamed of. You're going to make West Virginia so proud, whatever you do, wherever you go. And I want you to know one thing about it. You are a product of your environment. You are part of West Virginia. Mother Earth as ever before. It'll never leave you. It's something you always will be, and it's something you always will do. And you're going to be proud of it. And I want you to brag. I want you to be happy of where you come from. I want you to love yourself and love your neighbor and your friends. I don't want any hatred, animosity. I don't want any but bigotry. That's not who we are. And when someone starts to say, oh, I wasn't raised that way, I'm a West Virginian. So I say to all of you, if you had a toast right now and you raise your glasses and they say there's long ships and there are tall ships and there are ships that sail the sea, but the greatest ship is friendship, so friends may we always be. God bless each and every one of you, and go and do and have your world open up to you and have all your dreams come true. Thank you, and God bless you. Am I to announce the new officers? I'd like to congratulate the new officers. I'll make sure I have all the new officers here. I'd like for them to kind of step up to the front so I can say thank you. So, new governor, our new governor, Mariah Daffram. Mariah? We have President of the Senate, Cheyenne Arbogast. Speaker of the House, Isabel Murphy. Do I get that right? Hey! Commissioner of Agriculture, Cassandra Stout. Auditor, Sonia Harris. Treasurer, Sarah Victory. Attorney General, Devonnie Workman. Secretary of State, Andrea Adler. Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Aaron Guy. And the Justices of the Supreme Court, Taylor Graham, Rachel Flanagan, Sadie Hackworth, and Taylor Miller. So, to newly elected officers, let me tell you, you have an awesome responsibility. And carrying forth, as far as in the tradition of Girls State, you will do outstanding. And hopefully help the new class coming in. I know you will. And encouraging people to be involved. Encouraging young women to be involved when you go back home to your schools. That's your responsibility. That's your responsibility. So I think you're going to be great, and I think you all made a great selection, and let's give them another big hand. Thank you all.
Senator Manchin. Okay, as I'm sure most of your parents think they can pick you up at 10:30, we're going to try to keep on track with that 10:30 pickup. As we begin our closing assembly for this wonderful week of Rhododendron Girls State, again, I want to thank you girls. You truly are a group of lovely young ladies. You are by far one of the best groups that we have had at Rhododendron Girls State, and I commend and I thank you. I wanted to let each of you know that our special project, being our Department Welfare Fund, that will help our veterans in our state of West Virginia, collected $813 this week. So thank you. Also, I wanted to give a special thank you out to our inauguration committee, who I feel did a wonderful job yesterday. Thank you, Nancy Farley, who has already gone home, Miss Betty Ray, that I do not believe is in here this morning, Ashley Parrish, Dr. Thomas, Jen Simpson for our choir, and everybody else who made the inauguration yesterday so wonderful and so special. Thank you. And our art contest winner for the inauguration program is Nilam Patel. Is she here in the room? Okay. Okay. We have a little thank you to give you before you leave. So at this time, I'm going to turn the mic over to Mariah Daffron, and she is going to tell her selection of her governor's appointments.
Before I announce the appointments, I'd like to explain that there are far more deserving ladies in front of me today than there are positions to hand out. However, it is my honor to welcome these girls to stand and be recognized for investing so much of their time into the leadership of this community. To the position of Adjutant General of the Department of Military Affairs and Public Safety, Ms. Ava Asbury. To the position of Secretary of the Department of Administration, Tori Swihart. To the position of Commissioner of the Alcohol Beverage Control Administration, Ms. Carol Farrell. To the position of Commissioner of the Division of Financial Institutions, Ms. Hannah Cummings. To the position of Commissioner of the Bureau of Commerce, Ms. Brooke Ashby. To the position of Director of the Division of Corrections, Ms. Lauren Hopper. To the position of Director of the Division of Culture and History, Mrs. McCall Brummage. To the position of Secretary of the Department of Education and the Arts, Mrs. Mary Griffith. To the position of Director of the Emergency Medical Services, Ms. Sophia Shunway. To the position of Director of the Workforce West Virginia, Mrs. Erin Ramsey. To the position of Director of the Department of Environmental Protection, Mrs. Elizabeth Cochis. To the position of Director of the State Facilities Protection Division, Mrs. Taya Aluwafemi. To the position of Director of the Division of Forestry, Mrs. Cassandra Stout. To the position of Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Resources, Mrs. Hannah Eshelman.
To the position of Commissioner of the Division of Highways, Mrs. Lexi Devers. To the position of Commissioner of the Office of the Insurance Commissioner, Mrs. Hannah Diefenbacher. To the position of Director of the Division of Juvenile Services, Mrs. Isabella Reichel. To the position of Director of the Division of Labor, Mrs. Sadie Hackworth. To the position of Secretary of the Department of Military Affairs and Public Safety, Mrs. Aubrey Williams. To the position of Director of the Division of Motor Vehicles, Mrs. Rachel Flanagan. To the position of Director of the Natural Resources Division, Mrs. Destiny Gerard. To the position of Director of the Public Defender Services, Mrs. Hannah Gordon. To the position of Director of the Public Employees Insurance Agency, Mrs. Juliana Everly. To the position of Director of the Division of Personnel, Mrs. Rebecca Luketic. To the position of Director of the Division of Rehabilitation, Mrs. Haley Fiber. To the position of Director of the Bureau of Senior Services, Mrs. Lauren Shriver. Laren? It's Laren, right? Laren? Yeah. To the position of Commissioner of the State Tax Department, Mrs. Eden Toothman. To the position of Secretary of the Department of Revenue, Mrs. Casey Kaiser. To the position of Chief Technology Officer of the Governor's Office of Technology, Mrs. Isabella Vance. To the position of Commissioner of the Division of Tourism, Mrs. Brianne Cummington. And last but certainly not least, to the position of Secretary of the Department of Transportation, Mrs. Rihanna Bobis. Will all of those appointed please stand for a big round of applause? Thank you, ladies, very much for your commitment and sacrifice of time this week. Will the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate please join me on stage to introduce their legislature?
Good morning, ladies. So in the Senate, we have worked very, very hard for you guys to make Rhododendron Girl State a lot better. But I mean, it's awesome now as it is. But we really felt in our hearts that we wanted to give back to the veterans. So what we did was we created a bill, and it passed both the House and the Senate, obviously. And it is the Veteran Service Elective. And I will read to you guys what it says. This bill is a proposition for a new elective that girls may take in their schedule. During this time, a service project may be composed. This elective may include, but is not limited to, veteran speakers, a lunch or dinner with veterans, Q&A, along with projects such as cards and care packages. This service project will encompass veteran recognition and interaction. By producing care packages and thank you cards, we will recognize and give back in a small way to veterans. Also, in the ideas on the packing list, it'll have a section of what you could bring, and all as a donation and will be voluntarily self-funded. This elective is not mandatory, but may be taken and included on the schedule. Thank you, ladies.
Good morning. The first bill that was created in the House had to do with girls who wouldn't be able to afford Girl State clothing. So I'm going to read the bill. Sisterhood of the Traveling Khakis. This bill addresses the issue that some girls can't attend Girl State. Many times this is due to the inability to access clothes and other needed items. We have come up with the idea Sisterhood of the Traveling Khakis. In the emails the girls get for registration, a section could be added. In this section, it would say, if unable to access clothes,
contact, insert name and info. Then at the end of Girls' Day each year, donation boxes would be put in each community for the girls to put clothes in and give to the girls for the next year. Clothing will be placed into the bins. Volunteer staff could wash clothes at an area of their choosing. Also, staff members will evaluate worn-out clothing to donate it to nonprofit organizations willing to distribute the clothing to local communities in need. Girls may even donate their white dresses if they please. By doing this, we can provide girls who are unable to access polos, khakis, and white dresses with clothing for the week. The second bill that we created had to do with a suggestion by Ms. Dr. Rosemary Thomas. This one is called Nonpartisan Judicial Branch Elections. Whereas the legislature has come up with this idea, seeing that West Virginia's judicial branch election process is now nonpartisan, it would be appropriate for the Rhododendron Girls State government to emulate this nonpartisanship within the judicial branch as well. Through speeches given by candidates to their individual communities and for Supreme Court justices as to Girls State as a whole, the nonpartisan ideas will be conveyed. The following judicial branch positions are subject to the above changes: family court judges, circuit court judges, magistrate court judges, and Supreme Court justices. Thank you.
It is with great accolade that I carry forth my first deed as governor, by which I formally advance these bills towards the next step to becoming law.
Thank you, House and Senate. Looks like you guys were, that's okay. Looks like you guys were very busy and had some excellent bills passed, so thank you. At this time, I'd like to announce all the outstanding citizens once again. Please come up on stage, and we have your outstanding citizen pin for you. Okay, from Braxton County. Do you want to help her? Can you hand her a pen and she'll shake your hand? We have Mary Griffith, McCall Brummage, and Cassandra Stout. From Calhoun, we have Aaron Guy, Aaron Ramsey, Isabella Vance. From Kanawha, we have Brianne Covington and Elizabeth Cocus. From Lewis, we have Haley Fiber, Edith Toothman, and Sarah Victory. From Marion, we have McKenna Bolin and Madison Matheny. From Monongalia, we have Ava Ashbury, we have Hannah Gordon, and we have Rebecca Lukedig. From Monroe, we have Rihanna Bobas, Casey Kaiser, and Laren Shriver. From Northern Panhandle, we have Taya Olawafemi and Rachel Stevick. From Randolph, we have Juliana Everly and Destiny Gerard. From Upshur, we have Lexi Devers and Aubrey Williams. And from Webster, we have Rachel Flanagan and Sadie Hackworth. Ladies, congratulations, and once again, let's give your outstanding citizens a round of applause. Okay, thank you, ladies. You may be seated. Do you want to do this now, or you want to wait? Yeah, sure. Okay. I just need to sign. Thank you, ma'am. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. No, you're going to do it. At this time, Dr. Thomas is going to announce the winner of an award that's very near and dear to her heart.
Good morning, ladies. As you've heard me say many times, you're not the leaders of tomorrow, you're the leaders of today. And that leadership takes many different shapes, many different sizes, many different looks and feels. But at the end of the day, you're all leaders. You came here as leaders, and you're leaving here as leaders with more friends, and leaders with more knowledge, and hopefully leaders with more compassion, and leaders in need of sleep. Okay? I created this award several years ago in honor of my mother, who happened to be the orientation leader for several of you in this room. I think you may know, yes. And it is called the Mary Jo Thomas Star Leadership Award. It is presented in recognition of leadership, encouragement of others, and a positive attitude throughout the entire week. For this year's session, and this person will receive a $500 scholarship and will need to get in touch with the American Legion Auxilary Department once they've decided where they're going to college next year, and after next year, sorry. And then this person will be granted this scholarship, and it is in recognition of your leadership. You weren't necessarily on the front line, you weren't necessarily on all the time, but you made a difference for yourself and for others while you were here this week. I am very pleased and honored to present this year's Mary Jo Thomas Star Leadership Award to Abigail Vance. Is she here?
Congratulations, Abigail. Truly deserving. Another scholarship that we give away each year is for our Girls State Governor. Each year, our Girls State Governor will receive $500 to go towards her college upon her senior graduation. This year, the $500 goes to your governor, Katie Mossberg. So she will be issued a check for $500 on top of her already $20,000 Samsung Scholarship Award from last year. And also from the scholarships that she's getting from Boston University themselves for $20,000 each year. So big round of applause. Many of you, upon your arrival or before your arrival, had submitted online your Samsung scholarship application. Samsung is the worldwide electronics leader who have endowed a scholarship fund of $5 million to be administered by the American Legion Auxilary, and this began in 1996. And it was meant to show appreciation for our U.S. veterans who came to Korea's aid during its struggle against communist forces in the Korean War. The Samsung American Legion Scholarship Program established a series of scholarships derived from interest and other income from the principal amount. In 2015, it awarded 10 $20,000 scholarships across the country, which one went to our Governor Katie, and it also issued 88 $852 scholarships. To date, The Samsung American Legion Scholarship has awarded more than $5 million to nearly 1,800 applicants. That's huge. And again, each year, eligible boy state and eligible girl state girl have the ability to win one of these scholarships in each one of our states. This year, the Rhododendron Girl State Samsung Scholarship that will be awarded, she will be awarded anywhere from $500 to $20,000 if she's lucky enough to become a national winner. It is my privilege to present this year's Samsung Scholarship Award to Miss Erin Elizabeth Dodd. And we have a certificate that says the Certificate of Achievement presented to Elizabeth Erin Dodd, the 2016 Samsung American Legion Scholarship National Finalist for proven excellence in academic pursuits and dedication to the community, attributes which are in keeping with the efforts of the United States servicemen and women who help maintain freedom for the citizens of South Korea. Again, congratulations, Erin. Okay, ladies. Now it's time for the announcement of your Girls Nation Senators. This is huge. This is a huge honor and something you should not take lightly. Are you okay? Okay. I think Jessica's going to fall out of her seat. Okay, before I announce our Girls Nation Senators, we will announce the two alternates. If by some chance either one of the Girls Nation Senators are not able to attend, they will be replaced by one of our alternates. I will ask that once the assembly is over, that both alternates and Girls Nation Senators report to Ignatius with your parents, because there are some forms that you need to fill out, okay? So please report to corporate headquarters with your parents. Okay, I'm nervous. We are going to start with your first alternate. And that will be, oh, we're so quiet. Rachel Stevie. Okay. Sure. Definitely an honor. Your second alternate, should one of the two Girls Nation Senators not be able to attend, is Miss Erin Ramsey. Okay, so here we go, girls. You okay? Do we need CPR? Yeah. Hey, let's just recognize our past Girls Nation senators that are in this room. Please come forward. We have Jessica Kimball. Okay, we have old lady Tristan, okay. Current Alyssa Bumpus. We have Jenna Lou, and we have Kayla De Lorenzo, okay. And yeah, Ava was here, but Ava had to go back to work in 2013. So we have 2013, 2014, and 2015. So now we are getting ready to announce your 2016 winners. Okay, our first Girls Nation Senator. Betty Ray? Whoa, I don't think she can handle a week in Washington, D.C. Okay, let's get serious. Our first Girls Nation Senator is Miss Isabella Vance. And ladies, your second Girls Nation Senator, Miss Irene Weber. Washington cannot handle those two ladies. Okay, your second Girls Nation Senator is Miss Madison Matheny. I'm just chopped liver.
Thank you very much.
Well, ladies, I think this is the first time we have sent two redheads to Washington. I think they're going to light the nation on fire. Congratulations to all four of you. Yeah, 212 degrees. Again, once this number is over, please go to finish your headquarters. Okay. We will. She drove.
My grandmother's.
This could be interesting.
None of the parents are here.
You're quite interesting. I can make them come.
That's for my mother to decide how to handle. Okay, we'll let your mom, we'll let my mom figure this out. So just head on over. My grandpa. Okay. Congratulations. All right, as we wrap up our 2016 session, I want to thank the staff at Rhododendron Girls State, our senior counselors, our junior counselors. A lot of long days, sleepless nights. Thank you for all your help. To Rosemary, thank you so much for your dedication, your endless commitment, and your 210 degrees, or 12. You're not that hot yet. We want to keep you cool. To our troopers who are not in here, we once again thank them for keeping us safe this week. To Barb, is Barb here? Thank you, Nurse Barb, for keeping us as healthy as we can possibly be this week. To the staff of Willing Jesuit, Rob, you and your team have just been totally awesome this week. For those of you who do not know, after the Friendship Circle last night and the candles and the wax, Rob and his staff were down on their hands and knees ironing up the wax so that it could be vacuumed off the floor so that Alumni Weekend would have a clean dining hall. So we apologize, but we thank you so much, Rob. You guys have been phenomenal. There are so much that's out on the website that has been live streamed this week. You guys have the capability to go back in and rewatch these sessions with your parents or your friends. I strongly encourage you to do that, to show your upcoming freshmen and sophomores what truly does go on at Girls State, and how I'm hoping that this week has really changed your life. I know Katie is a true testament to this, as well as other of your junior and senior counselors. I really don't think I could wrap it up any better, and Dr. Thomas will have the final words, than what Senator Manchin did in his speech this morning. But from my heart, I truly want you all to continue to rise up and be your best you. And I want you to go confidently in the direction of your dreams. And I want you to live the life that you always have imagined. And I want you to know that no one can make you feel inferior without your own consent. You choose to be happy. You choose to be sad. Nobody does that for you. He could not have been more spot on with that. As Rosemary has said all week long, you are not the leaders of tomorrow. You are the leaders of today. Never let anyone tell you you cannot do anything, because only you know what you're capable of. So I encourage you to live your dreams. Never settle for second best. Go after everything that you could possibly imagine. With that, I'm going to turn it over before we have the retirement of our collars by Senators Bumpus and Kimball to Dr. Thomas.
If I can have the senators come on up and take their places, you two, up here by the flags. They don't want to do it. Jessica's going to cry the entire time. Ladies, before I give you one final story, all right, you know I have to do that. We need to thank the person who, and I've told you this, 12 months out of the year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, Michelle Serbaugh is one of the most committed, dedicated, and compassionate women I know, and especially when it comes to her grandson, Jax, and Rhododendron Girls State. Give her a hand, please. Where's Nilam Patel? Nilam, because you were in line getting a picture. Hello. Where'd she go? There she is.
While Dr. Thomas is doing that, there is one person I truly forgot to thank, and I so apologize, because I think she has done a most excellent job in her year as governor. And Katie, I thank you so much. By far, you were awesome.
right, give me the microphone back. Ladies, it has been so much fun. I think a lot of you came here thinking you knew exactly what you wanted to do, and you knew exactly what talents you had, and you knew exactly the skill set that you were bringing here, and you thought, this is it, this is what I'm going to do. So I want to tell you this quick story, and I'm going to just yell it from the front of the stage because it's better without a microphone. It's because I need to have movements. So anyway, if you've heard it before, bear with me, but hopefully you'll get the message that's inside it. So the moral of the story is, you may have come here with one idea in mind. You are leaving here in a whole different position because you are now and you will always be a Girl State girl. Friends we are and friends will ever be. Where'er we are, we'll follow faithfully. Girls State girls will always be till the end of time. Ladies, we wish you a fabulous summer, an amazing senior year that is nothing more and nothing less than a springboard to a future that will be nothing short of the amazing women that you are. Swing for the fences, look to the stars, and dream big. Please stand for the retiring of the colors.
Salute. At ease. Rosemary just told me I get to declare this closed, and I really don't want to, but I think I'm supposed to. So my gavel's in my backpack down there, but like I declare this session of Girl State. I don't know, Tristan has it. I now declare the 74th session of Rhododendron Girl State closed.